welcome back to another episode of Thursday. Today, I'm very honored to have the owner for this really cool new small winery called CAMi up in Calistoga. The owner's name is Laurie. It's always a special place in my heart when we have woman-owned business, so I'm beyond excited to get her here today to talk about her wine. It's a relatively new project, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people might not be familiar with them, including myself. So I'm really excited to see what we got, beautiful label, and I can't wait to hear the story. So thank you so much for joining us today. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, what's your background, and how did you got into wine?
Okay, so I actually got into the wine business in the 80s in Florida.
Oh, okay.
So I worked for a wine broker, a woman,
Oh, nice.
when women weren't very big in the industry.
Yes.
And I started doing admin for her while I was in college. And then she had a sick baby, and I thought I was not the best at admin, and thought maybe I'd do okay in sales. So I started in sales. And then I met my husband, who was working for one of the wineries. We later married when I was 30, many years later, and I moved to the Napa Valley in 1997. So that's the beginning. In 99, we moved on to the property, and we have 2.5 acres of Merlot and Cab.
Wow.
And he worked for a larger winery, and so we always sold our fruit.
Interesting.
The property is located in Calistoga, but just right in the middle of St. Helena and Calistoga, 50-50.
Nice.
And we border the Selby Creek. We are really close to Larkmead Vineyards, and let's see, where would I go from there? So in 2013, we had, well, actually in 2008, I lost my husband, Tom, to cancer. And I kind of flaked on everything because it was just a rough time. But then a friend came to me and said, maybe you should make your wine. And I hadn't really thought about that before. And our daughter's name is CAMi, and she was 6 at the time, so she kind of got the short end of the stick. So we thought, well, maybe we could call the brand CAMi to kind of bring back the memories of food and wine over our table, which is what our life was all about.
Right.
And so 2013, we made 85 cases. We made half our vintage.
Wow.
And it was quite good. And it was a good year to make your first wine.
Yes, yes.
And actually, I can say now, Russell Bevins made our first wine.
What?
And
wait, you weren't allowed to say back then? Or?
He wouldn't allow me to say it because he said, I'm just doing this as kind of a favor. Oh, wow. But you can't say my name because
people go crazy when they hear it.
So he made our first wine, and he said, your grapes are really good. You should make your wine. But you can't afford me because you're too little. Right. So find a winemaker. Right. So our winemaker, I'm kind of a free spirit. And I happened to be calling a friend of mine, Kathy Dotzler, who they own Outpost Winery. And I called Kathy for a donation to my daughter's school auction. Nice. And John answered the phone. And John used to be the sous chef to Hiro Sone at Terra Restaurant. And he actually ran the restaurant when it was a Michelin star. That was 15 years ago. He left being a chef and decided to be a winemaker, and he started working under Thomas Rivers Brown. Wow. So John answered the phone, and I said, John, I need a winemaker. And he got very funny, and he said, Thomas and I will have to come and review your vineyard. Wow. I thought, that's so fussy. Right. What happened? You're so relaxed. But they came down. I didn't know that Thomas had been the winemaker of the year. I wasn't paying attention, and things had changed. And so they approved the vineyard, and John started making our wine in 2014. That's amazing. So he's been making our wine ever since. We just picked our 21, and we're continue to move forward. The wine that we have in our glass right now is 100% Cabernet that we decided to purchase a little fruit from Larkmead. With the idea that we only make about 165 cases, which is very tiny because we only have a 2.5 acre vineyard. Correct. So we thought maybe we'd grow a little bit. John, being a purist, decided that he didn't want to put the Larkmead fruit in our CAMi Estate red wine. Got it. So we bottled it on its own in this little package called Dive. Nice. Dive into a bottle. Oh, I love it. 100% Napa Cab. Oh, I love the artwork. Like on closer inspection, it looks like someone literally dived into the water. It is. Oh, was their feet up? So
wow, that's really cool. It's like,
my son is a photographer.
Oh wow!
And he makes our labels. Oh. And so this is a label that he made, and then at the back there's a little splash.
Oh, that's cool. So you got your daughter's name on the front, and then also your son's work on there as well. That's beautiful. Yes. So this is
this is the dive. It's 100% Napa Cab. It's made by John up at Outpost. It's French oak. 100% French oak. We made it just the same as we make our wine, 22 months. He just decided he didn't want to affect the estate red wine.
Got it.
And I think it's tasting
So the
nice.
Fruit, you say, is coming from Larkmead Vineyards?
So it's coming from Larkmead, which is just Larkmead Lane, if you know. The bakers are good friends of ours. They have a lot of vineyards, and we share a creek. So it's the same terroir.
That's amazing. So it's very, okay, so it should be somewhat, what's the next one?
The next wine we'll taste will be the 100% Merlot.
Got it.
And our Merlot is a Three Palms clone Merlot.
Wow.
So when they planted the Three Palms vineyard, the same farmer, which was Paul Savier, planted our little vineyard. So we got a little bit of the
How did you ended up with that property back in the lane?
At the time I was living downtown St. Helena with one bathroom and in a little tiny cottage. And my husband said one day, we need to find a house with 2 bathrooms because we had little boys running through the bathroom. It had 2 doors in between the kitchen and it was a little bit funky. And so we found this property. It had kind of a newish house on it, but it had a really nice little vineyard. And David Abreu was a friend of ours because his son Rico is friends with my son Trevor. So we asked David to come out and look at the vineyard, and he said, you have good dirt. So that's kind of how we bought it.
That's amazing. I just the stories, I feel like back in the 90s, the 80s, or even earlier, it's just so wholesome. It is a very small, tight-knitted community. Everybody knows everyone.
It is. It still is.
Yes, it
still is.
But I feel like Napa has gained so much international attention nowadays. When you hear the name, you feel like they're almost celebrity, like they're so far away, but you forget that they're human. They have a love and passion for the land and the places. They're all friends and they grew up there. They just love. It's great to hear stories like that. And the wine, as soon as I stick my nose into it, wow, very pure. A lot of good intensity. Lots of red fruits. I actually didn't pay attention. So we're all 3 of these are 2018 now.
Yes.
Oh wow. So 2018, as far as what I've tasted so far, and every time I ask a winemaker or a winery owner, they've told me the 18 has been phenomenal. So
we're all super excited about the 18 vintage. Of course, coming off of 17, we had the fires. We were able to get a 17 vintage because we picked early because Calistoga is a little warmer.
Yes.
But, that was just a shocking time to the whole Napa Valley. So 18, we got rain, and, it just felt like a more normal year. 19 as well. So it's a more balanced wine. It's just, I find that everybody's so excited because we got our Napa weather back. Rain. Kind of like what we're having right now.
This year, right.
It's really nice. Yeah, thank you. Hopefully get more rain. Right?
Yes, we kind of need that balance a little bit. It's been in the drought for too long.
Yeah, you'll notice that our fruit, I was trying to explain just the other day the difference to a younger wine consumer about French wines and California wines. And one of the things that makes California wine so special is our environment and our sunshine. And our sunshine gives us riper fruits versus the French wines that are often in these cloudy weather, and where they come around over many years. Our wines can cellar for many years, but you can approach them early.
Yes.
And I often suggest, we have a little tiny tasting room and art gallery downtown Calistoga right now.
Nice.
And you can do a power decant on our wines and have them earlier.
Yes.
You can also put them in your cellar for 20 years. So it's, I think that's what makes it kind of special, the California sunshine.
Nice. So what's how much production do you have of this now? This is a new project.
We made 100 cases.
Wow. And 2018 is the first time you guys have this label. It's very satisfying. I'm seeing some like kind of bright rose petal there in the end. It's like you said, it's just
too.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just ripe, but not over the top. I feel like the pendulum swinging back a little bit. I felt like about 10, 15 years ago, it went really heavy on the oak, and it was a little bit unbalanced. And nowadays, I feel like they're really coming back, and it's making a much more overall more polished and beautiful wine. And I'm getting that here.
Well, John Giannini, he has a food background. And then I think after learning his winemaking from Thomas, Thomas has a kind of non-intervention method of winemaking. So they really, that's why the vineyard is super important. They really want to celebrate the grapes that are coming out of the vineyard. And not a lot of bells and whistles in the winery. You know, good oak, we have terraceau barrels, and being so small, we're lucky that we get the opportunity to get some of the better French oak because people like Schrader are made up there. They're able to buy some of these barrels. On my own, it would be really hard to get really nice French oak for such a small production. So
you essentially kind of go in with them, like say, hey, buy some for us as well.
They know that, like, okay, Laurie has some wine, you know, the Schraders have some wine, Outpost has this, Lambourne, there's a couple others. And they count the barrels, and then they place one order. So we get to kind of do it as
a group.
Yes.
Okay, that's amazing. You know what really surprised me about the first wine is generally with the big Napa cab, the nose was very well put together, but the intensity is definitely on the medium plus high side, which usually in my past experience, I'm expecting something that's gonna hit my mouth like a ton of brick. Yeah. And I put it in my mouth, and I was like, wow, this is actually very palatable.
Yes, like, it's a little bit, I'm saying that this is our little value right now.
Yeah.
We have a nice little price on this, but I think it's nice drinking.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, because sometimes I feel like, which to me is the best balance, because I feel like wine you have to be able to drink, and even though like I just mentioned earlier, I feel like the Napa wine is coming back on the balancing side, but a lot of wine is smelling more balanced, like I'm not getting a lot of oak, but on the palate, they're still really tannicky, really big, whereas in this wine, I put it in my mouth, I was getting ready to go, okay, I'm gonna swish it and spit it out. I got my spitting cup. And I swallowed it, because I was like, this is really good. I was like, oh my God, like really like as you were just talking about, the winemaker has a food background, it can tell. And it is just, like, I just drink it and I can see that he's making the wine with the idea of, hey, I want to make a wine where it's not just going to take over the entire dinner table. I want the wine where people want to swallow it and leave a little bit left on your palate, and you want to go take a bite of food. And you said the price was really attractive. It's like, what, $75, which is...
Yes.
Like,
I know,
for Napa, that's
why I tell people, you should buy this. You're going to get, our CAMi wines are a little more expensive, and they're really beautiful.
Yes.
But this is a little,
it's
kind of like
amazing
a value right now,
for sure.
I think.
Oh, wow. It's beautiful, because like I said, on the nose, I'm getting so much expression, so much
like
expressive fruit.
Cinnamon, tobacco.
Yes. Yeah. And I am a huge floral fan, and I feel like a lot of time Napa Cab, you don't get that beautiful floral. So when I find it, I'm just like, yes. So this is really pretty.
Well, thank you.
Beautiful. Wow. And again, the alcohol is pretty modest on the first one. It's only 14.2.
Yes, and I have my glasses on. But
then we got a 15.1 on the Merlot and 14.8. Wow.
Yes. Well, it is that sunshine.
Yes. All right. I'm excited to try the next one.
Okay, so this is our 100% Merlot.
Thank you.
And we made...
thank you so much.
40 cases.
Wow.
And part of the reason that we made it is... my late husband's background was associated with Joseph Phelps Vineyards, and we used to break up the components of the insignia to show people, and so I kind of still have that in my mind, that it's nice to see, this is our flagship wine, the CAMi red wine, but I think it's nice to see the components of what we're making. So I kind of have to fight for this, tell John, like, just give me a few cases of the 100%. So this is the Three Palms clone. It's a really big, robust Merlot.
Yes.
It's not your little light Merlot that a lot of people know, and I think it's beautiful.
I'm really excited to try the blend now, because I'm seeing a consistency, and I feel like it's always fun when you can feel the fine nuances that's different from the winery, the stories and the heart behind it. And for your winery, I'm feeling a lot of that elegant notes coming through on the nose.
Well, that's
the floral
I
notes.
think our female background, because I'm always saying I want a wine with the feminine tannins, and that's with the 337 clone. So it is approachable now, but it's a little softer on the finish. So, I mean, that's what we call feminine tannins. You can go up to Hell Mountain and you can get more masculine tannins.
Yes.
And we celebrate the difference, right?
Yes. I know, it's just, I do like the Hell Mountain. I feel like a lot of my clients are into the big broad shoulder cab, but it's just so nice to put that into perspective and contrast and just try different things. This is so good.
And even you can, both wines lay down in the cellar. I think with some of those big mountain cabs, they need more years sometimes to be able to experience them in a more gentle way. I think that complements the food. In the beginning, they can be a little, like you said, too much.
A little rough around the edges. Yes, this one is absolutely
So this is 100% Merlot. I find that like a lot of men sometimes say to me, "Oh, no thanks, I don't drink Merlot."
Yeah.
And then they try this and they say, "Okay, but I drink your Merlot."
I feel like people always just. I wonder how much of it was because of the movie Sideways, like really just kind of destroyed the image of Merlot for a lot of our next generation wine drinker once the movie come out. But Merlot and Cab, there are more similarity than there are difference in my mind, and I feel like they complement each other very well, and they're both amazing just grapes to produce long-lasting red wine. Some of the best wine coming from France are from the right bank of Bordeaux as well. So Merlot is. So I'm glad you're fighting for it. Is it one of those things where people?
Because he thinks making the one great wine is what he wants to do, because he thinks that the blend is the best. It's the best presentation of our vineyard. That's what his real feeling is. Let's make the best wine from your vineyard, which has the Merlot and Cabernet on it. I just like to see it broken out a little bit and see the 100% component. And so happy to share it. And this label was also made by my son, and he was studying in Asia at the time. And so these labels have these two, our CAMi labels in particular, I think have that kind of component. He was in Thailand and Korea and Japan.
Was that like a black and white photo? Or?
These are black and white photos, and this is actually from grape leaves.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. So.
It looks like ink.
It does.
Like
they almost look like an artwork.
And then the CAMi label, our CAMi red wine, is a vine tendril.
Okay, I can see that.
And it's the vine tendril that's dead on the wire. And when he brought this to me, he said the vine dies on the wire, and the soul of the grape is reborn in the wine.
Oh my God!
And so
your son is like a true artist.
Yeah,
that's really
and that
beautiful.
was dedicated to Tom. So then he actually wrote a piece of poetry on the first 2013 label, and then every label, each vintage, has a small poem, because Tom was one of these people who could just speak a poem at any dinner related to anything. Not like me, I can't do that. This one is going to be the language of wine.
Oh my goodness!
Upon the lips, Virginia Woolf.
This is so beautiful. Wow.
Did I say that wrong? Language is wine upon the lips. I knew I said that wrong. Yes.
Language is wine.
Wine upon the lips.
I love that. Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm like.
I know you teared up. I mean, I teared up when he brought it to me. Yeah. I said, "Okay, that's our label."
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
And it was really a healing. So this is a healing project for our family.
Yes.
And we're celebrating life, and we're celebrating, I think, what we all do every day: food and wine, friendship, family. Here we're going into the holidays, and so we're small and passionate. We're trying to make a good product because
it is a good product. Like I was telling Kevin ahead of time, I was like, it doesn't matter how nice it is, how small a production. If the wine's not good, I'm not gonna sell it. I'll do it. But I was just like, this is actually very, very solid work, and I haven't even tasted your best wine yet.
The CAMi.
Wow,
Thank you.
I truly love how this is a true family endeavor, and I love how much heart and love there is to it. I can feel your heart, just like as soon as you come in. Kevin did tell me like before you even come, like you're gonna love her, and I feel it. And I think it's so beautiful that you guys are just honoring Tom continuously, and I feel like they don't truly leave you if they're there.
Right.
If you're honoring them and you're still pushing it forward, I think it's.
You get to talk about them, and so now we don't cry as much. We celebrate.
Yes, I love it.
We laugh and think about good times that we had, and I think he would think I was a little bit crazy doing this.
Why?
Because it's a hard project.
It is.
To be so small, but I think he'd be proud of it, and the wines are showing themselves, and happy to share it. That's
wow. Yeah. And it's so funny because you were talking about how both of this wine are still priced so reasonably for the quality of the fruit and kind of the pedigree of the winemaker and the source of the wine and the story behind it. It's just amazing because this one is only $100 a bottle, which again is super reasonable, and your flagship is only like $135 a bottle. Yes. Again, it blows my mind because
it's not $400.
No, it's not, because when you're like, oh yeah, when we get here, that's and then I'm just like, okay, I'm expecting like, what is it, $250? How much is this? Is it $400? Like, yeah, right? Because when you say that nowadays with Napa, especially a small winery, with kind of with where you guys are located and who you guys have on your team and everything you put into it, I'm expecting like a $200 plus wines for you to say, hey, it's $135. I'm like, yes, please.
Well, we might not be the best business plan, but I think that we're trying to more just enjoy what wine is and not maybe be so driven on the other side.
The bottom line, the business of it.
Oh. Yeah. I'm kind of fighting that because I really just want to back in the day, there were so many little brands, and then it got really hard, and then a lot of, you get bigger brands, and so I think we're just trying to be kind of who we are. We have this little vineyard, we have had an experience, and we're grateful to still be there.
Yes.
I
have to say I'm a fan for sure, and I'm loving kind of the direction of where Napa is going, because I do feel like you guys started in the 90s, but even earlier than that, it was so hard for individual landowner farmers to be able to bottle, label, and produce their own wine.
Impossible.
Right? The marketing, the supply chain, logistic, everything, distribution is just such a nightmare. I'm loving the idea that now, fast forward 20, 30 years later, with the technology advances, with more better technology and more collaborative working between other people, that we get to experience and I'm so happy you made a decision to label your own wine instead of just selling them, so then we get to experience a very unique story in the terroir and what you believe that you put, in what wine should be, and you put that into the bottle and make it yours. I think it's beautiful. And this Merlot, I haven't even put in my mouth yet, because for wines, I feel like that's interesting, that's got a lot going on. I like to smell it more because it changes in the glass. So, the first thing is just like, hey, it is, once again, very expressive, but not over the top. It's very imbalanced. Nothing is like off. It's not rough around the edges. Then I'm getting that classic Merlot notes, bay leaf, eucalyptus, a lot of herbal notes, which I absolutely love. That's why I love in Merlot, is the herbaceousness. And underneath that, once in a while, I just get tiny hints of French vanilla. Again, not that over-the-top sweet candy-like thing, because I don't generally like that in my domestic wine. I like them a little more reserved, which is this, but it's there at the end, which I think is beautiful. I'm gonna have to put it in my mouth. I freaking love the mouthfeel of your wine. I do. Both of this wine, I just straight out swallow it, because again, most Napa wine, I feel like a lot of the time they're such a monsters in your mouth. It's hard, like you want to spit it back out. You don't want to, but when I'm doing the tasting, I want to spit it back out just because it almost kind of like coats on the tack. But this one is beautiful. It's a very soft, smooth kind of mouthfeel. and it finished very elegantly. Oh, that's really nice. Wow.
Thank you.
I love this.
And then I think
wow.
You always get a little, maybe blueberry pie, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When you said a little bit of vanilla, sometimes John is always saying like, I think blueberry pie, and I think I don't eat blueberry pie very often. I need to make some blueberry pie.
Blueberry tart, wow.
Yeah,
yes.
And so that's what he thinks, which he's talking about a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of vanilla, you know, a little bit of maybe whipped cream.
yes, I definitely get on more on the palate for sure. The cinnamon notes, oh, that's so beautiful. All right, can't wait to try the last one.
And so then the CAMi is our estate red wine. It's our flagship wine. It's 53% Merlot, 47% Cab. And,
nice.
I believe that is exactly, I think it could be 1% off.
It says, 52% Merlot, 48% Cab.
I didn't have my glasses.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's going to serve
myself.
This
has 22 months in the barrel, 100% barrel fermentation, small barrels. So John uses usually a variety of different barrels. One will often have a little medium toast, so they're all small barrel fermented and then blended. And that's one of the things that we could make our wine maybe someplace else a little less expensive, but it wouldn't be babysat and cared for the way it is up at Outpost. It really gets a lot of attention for being so small. So that's, because believe me, during COVID, I was thinking like, how are we going to do this? You know.
But you made it happen.
But we survived.
Yes.
We're all getting through COVID.
Yes, seriously, I love it. We're hopefully near the tail end of it, and it's only going to get better from here. And so how many cases did you make of these guys?
So I think of 135 cases.
So, okay, still tiny, nice.
So you can see the complexity comes with the blend.
Yes. This is the one I would say probably need a couple more years in the cellar, or like you said, a power decant in the beginning. Whereas the first two,
you can drink them.
Was beautiful. But you did also open all three of this yesterday. Yes. So again, it's holding up really well with 1 day of natural like south gentle.
And John aeration. Often will say like with the CAMi, you can open it and put it in your refrigerator, and after day 5, he feels like it's tasting the way it would taste after it's been aged.
That's interesting.
I know. That's what he
we'll
says.
Have to try it sometime.
Day 5. Some people say no way, but that's what his take is. And so I have if you've seen one of those decanters where you can flip your bottle and then flip it back in.
Yep.
That's a really nice way if you want to keep the bottle on your table.
Right.
Otherwise, just a really, activated decant where you just chug it in and then put it on your table an hour before dinner.
Right.
And it helps it come around.
Wow. Definitely a lot of complexity, and it's interesting. Like the feminine energy in me are absolutely loving this first two because it just. You see less of this coming around in Napa. You get more of that, but still, even with this, there's a level of sophistication in there. It's not over the top. It's still very balanced, but there's just so much layer happening in there that it takes a while to like unpack, and it's very satisfying. I'm definitely getting that blackberry, blueberry, like you said.
Blackberry, blueberry.
Oh, I love this. This is great.
Black cherry.
Oh, man.
John says baking spices sometimes, I try and think of some of his descriptors.
The baking spices on both of this wine comes in the palate, very satisfying. And this one just has so much more. A little more tannin, a little more to chew on. It lingers on your mouth just a little bit longer. And finish very strong. It just kept going. Oh, that's beautiful. Man, I love these wines. Wow, this is good. Oh, I can't decide. Do you have a favorite, or it depends on the time of the day, or what you're eating?
I think sometimes. So, like when I think about the dive, if I was just, going to have dinner. In the middle of the week. I think like, wow, this is really nice. It's cool weather. I want a red wine. The CAMi, I we don't open CAMi every night. So CAMi, if I'm really going to cook on a Saturday for friends, and you know, I might start with our Sauvignon Blanc, or you know, I think the Merlot is a nice kind of intermezzo. You know, in the middle of the meal, maybe you're going to have like I hate to even say, but if you had a really nice winter salad with a chunk of blue cheese in there and persimmon or something, that I might even have the Merlot with that kind of a salad, you know, which sounds crazy. Nice. And then I would have the Cab, you know, the CAMi red wine with, I don't cook personally a lot of red meat. I do make lamb on occasion, but you know, more of a hearty fish dish or something with some red sauce of something, or a pasta with some good, you know, cheese.
I can totally see that. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, I honestly have no complaint with any of the 3 wines. We'll absolutely have to offer, so might as well put it in the video now. I'm going to put a link down below for you guys to purchase until it runs out. So grab yours while you can. Once again, the dive is there, 100% Cabernet, that goes for $75 a bottle. The Napa 100% Merlot, this is actually my personal favorite. I just think you don't quite see anything like it. It's just beautiful, elegant, it stands out, and it just, I love it. And for $100 a bottle, this is killer. And of course, for someone who loves a good, absolutely solid red blend, this is the CAMi red blend for $135 a bottle. All 3 of those are super tiny in production. I think in combined, the 3 labels are less than 300 cases. There are 2 estate ones combined together is less than like 170 cases. So super duper tiny. These are kind of the wine that I would love to see more in Napa. So it's such a pleasure to meet you and taste your wine. I'm absolutely blown away by the story, by the wine, and the love you put into the bottle. So I can't wait for some of my clients to try them and come back to me every year to be like, hey, where's this year's CAMi's allocation?
Napa, and we can show you around. That would
absolutely
be fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please remember to subscribe to my mailing list on www.angiesound.com so you don't miss any of the awesome deals such as this one or any of the future videos I make. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.